A very good evening and a very warm welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Savindri Javardhana. Let's look at the top stories for the day. Sri Lanka and Bangladesh to enter a new free trade agreement. Depositors of failed finance companies get a maximum of 1.1 million rupees, Central Bank assures. News in detail. Sri Lanka and Bangladesh would work for a free trade agreement as the result of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's recent two-day state tour to Bangladesh. Foreign Ministry sources reveal that both the countries have already agreed to immediately complete the joint feasibility study on FTA. A joint statement has been issued by the Sri Lanka and Bangladesh foreign ministries at the successful conclusion of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's visit to Bangladesh. The statement said that as the first step towards the proposed FTA, both the parties agreed to work for a bilateral preferential trade agreement beginning with a short list of products which could open up opportunities for an expanded trade, investments and tourism in future. Both sides agreed to undertake measures for trade facilitation, including identification and removal of non-tariff barriers and simplification and harmonization of mutually recognized standards. Moreover, both sides also agreed to diversify the basket of tradable goods and look for innovative ways to add fresh impetus to trade and commercial relations. Bangladesh had also welcomed more Sri Lankan investment in sectors such as textiles, knitwear, linen, leather, pharmaceuticals, agro-based industries, and steel and engineering, IT, education, health, and hospitality. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa had invited the Bangladesh business sector to seek out new opportunities available in Sri Lanka in the sectors of pharmaceutical, value-added apparel, food processing, logistics, tourism and IT-enabled services. Meanwhile, the statement also added that Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has extended an invitation to his counterpart Sheikh Hasina to undertake a state visit to Sri Lanka in 2022 to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Sources also said that Prime Minister Hasina accepted the invitation and expressed her willingness to join the celebration if situation permits. State Minister of Urban Development Dr. Nalaka Godaheva says that the government has undertaken initiatives to reconstruct old heritage sites in Colombo while preserving their historical value in order to increase the tourist attraction. He stated this addressing the relaunching of the Grand Oriental Hotel Colombo last week.
We have restarted that journey. So we have expedited the process in which we do these things. So as you can see, now Grand Orient is more or less ready. The Gafoor building is coming up. We will be changing the whole fort area. Within the next 2 to 3 years, the entire old city will be transformed. And then the Manning market has already moved out. The port city is coming up. We are moving a lot of other businesses in PETA area also out. Currently, we are doing a master plan for PETA. So finally, it will be a totally new city. On one side, the old city, and a new city next to that. That's the plan.
Assuring maximum relief to the depositors of the banks and finance companies, the maximum amount of compensation has been increased. Accordingly, the maximum amount of compensation payable under the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Assistance Scheme will now be 1.1 million rupees. This decision has been taken with the objective of providing maximum relief to the depositors of the bankers and finance companies regulated by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka in case their licenses are revoked or suspended. Accordingly, the compensation will increase from the current limit of 600,000 rupees to 1.1 million rupees. This decision has been taken to provide further relief to the depositors of financial institutions regulated by Central Bank in the event of a cancellation or suspension of the license of such institutions. Therefore, the depositors of 6 finance companies, namely Central Investments and Finance, the Standard Credit Finance Limited, TKS Finance Limited, The Finance Company PLC, ETI Finance Limited and Swarnamahal Financial Services PLC, whose license have been cancelled or suspended by the Monetary Board, are eligible to receive the revised compensation amount. The depositors of the above-mentioned companies who have yet not obtained any compensation payment are also requested to apply for compensation under the revised maximum amount of 1.1 million rupees. The central bank is currently taking necessary measures to commence the payment of additional compensation soon. CBSL also announced that the payment mechanism and the date of commencement of payments under the increased compensation threshold will be notified in due course. Stay tuned for more news right after this break. Welcome back after the break. Minister of Youth and Sports Affairs Nama Rajapaksa says that the country will fully open for the tourism industry while relaxing quarantine regulations for the tourists who have received both doses of COVID-19 vaccination. He made these remarks addressing a discussion held with foreign journalists through the Zoom technology. During the interview, Minister Rajapaksa explains about the new plans for bringing more tourists to Sri Lanka and how the British nationals should be encouraged to visit Sri Lanka. Furthermore, he added that the country is open for startup businesses and opportunities are available for foreign investors with a lot of incentives.
We have managed to open up for tourism in a very controlled manner, but we are looking at relaxing the quarantine regulations further and also allow Sri Lankans and foreigners who have got both doses of vaccination to enter with more relaxed regulations. And also we are looking at fully opening the country for tourism once we finish at least 60 to 70% of our vaccinated local population has been vaccinated. So I must say I was the first to organize the LPL cricket tournament. We were the first ministry to organize the LPL cricket tournament, an international franchise cricket tournament, so which led to South Asia to host more international cricketing events.
Minister of Youth and Sports Affairs Nama Rajapaksa says that the government has plan of setting up 344 new industries covering all the AG divisions in the country. Speaking to a foreign journalist, Minister Rajapaksa added that the industries in the village will strengthen the rural economy.
Restructuring the education system and of course attracting more vocational and skilled labor. And at the same time, what I'm looking at is, as you correctly said, take industries to the rural economy. So basically, we are having this special program where we're taking industries to each AGA division. So in Sri Lanka, we have 44 AGA divisions. So we are looking at establishing 344 industries in each the AGA division. And at the same time, we are a very predominantly agriculture and fisheries based industries. So we want to develop those industries to the export market. And at the same time, we have to think out of the box when it comes to promoting tourism and getting people into Sri Lanka.
The Ministry of Technology has taken a step forward in establishing a technology-based society by commissioning 5 new technology parks in the country. The major development project was revealed by the Secretary to the Ministry of Technology, Jayantha De Silva, recently. It was highlighted that the establishment of the Technoparks is only one of the major initiatives identified by the Ministry of Technology to build a technology-based society. The proposed technoparks will include incubator facilities for the establishment of startups, collaborative activities and programs with uninterrupted power supply, telecommunication centers, administrative management offices, banking facilities, conference centers, recreational facilities, parking and internal transportation. Further, it was also added that the ministry was reported to be having discussions with the European Union regarding businesses that would be set up in these parks in the future. Secretary to the Ministry of Technology, Jayantha De Silva, highlighted the requirement for the plot of land which amounted to 100 acres and the journey undertaken to find the following characteristics of the ideal location for the proposed technology parks, while there are already 4 cities identified for these, namely Galle, Kandy, Nuwara Eliya and Kurunegala.
We also wanted communication links to be there to support, obviously, and we want electricity there to support 24 hours. So this was another area that we were searching for. The fourth one was actually education. Can these boys and girls, they are children, make them children go to education? The fifth one, we wanted, because we are tying up with universities, where Professor Gamage would enlighten you all more. So we wanted one university to tie up, one or more, to do our R&D, because this is not a standard techno park that you would have seen anywhere in the world.
Stay tuned for more news right after this break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 112.39 points to close at 6,966.71, and the S&P SL 20 gained 28.67 points to close at 2,786.12. The turnover was 7.5 billion rupees and over 41 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.